Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak-to-Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists. Hello, I'm Dango Rose, and this is the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. In this week's episode, we speak to Debra Stanger. Debra will be telling us about her art and journey to becoming a mountain colorist and intuitive painter.
We hear this week's music mentions from Jamie Lammers, and special correspondent Maryann Rosen will share an intriguing tale about the autumnal equinox, its ancient origins, scientific meaning, and cultural celebrations held throughout the centuries.
And for our final story, we introduce Mike Keeler, historian, storyteller, and a steady volunteer at the Visitor Center in Central City.
But first, some news from your neighborhood.
Mountain sports across the Peak-to-Peak are in full swing. If you're looking to support the Netherlands Panthers and Gilpin Eagles' various teams while they compete this year, you'll find an updated school calendar printed every week in the Mountaineer newspaper. You can also go online to view our expansive community calendar at themountaineer.com.
Do you have a spooky story that you want to share? Have you encountered ghosts of gold diggers past, a Bigfoot, or maybe a Tommyknocker? Well, we want to hear all about it. In October, the Everybody's Listening podcast will feature a string of spooky stories by special correspondent Maryann Rosen. If you have one of your own that you'd like to share, go to themountaineer.com and look for the spooky prompt.
Residents from throughout the Peak-to-Peak region are invited to join a fun event for all ages as we rise against hunger. Volunteers will meet at Teens Inc. in Netherlands on Thursday, September 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. to package 10,000 meals.
The meals will be provided to the international organization Rise Against Hunger, which will distribute them internationally to alleviate hunger. All ages are invited to participate, as there will be a place for anyone that wants to help. Rise Against Hunger is an international organization that has been supporting global efforts to end world hunger since 1998. The organization has packaged more than 17 million meals through volunteer efforts.
Netherlands Community Presbyterian Church is organizing the event for the 8th year, and to help fund the project, the church will sell fresh evergreen Christmas wreaths for $32 each from September 28th to October 28th, with delivery beginning November 15th. To register yourself as a team or to become a sponsor, please contact Paula Gipp via email at gipp.paula, Paula, at gmail.com or call 303-328-5863. There is no fee to participate. Snacks will be provided to participants at the event.
The Peak-to-Peak Studio Tour will take place September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. The tour includes both galleries and local studios of artists living and working along the Peak-to-Peak and every community and canyon in between. Enjoy a weekend of art and changing colors across the Rockies. For information on the tour, please visit our website at themountaineer.com. Be sure to look out for the printed guide as well that will be distributed inside each weekly edition in celebration of this first annual event.
Read more local news and feature stories in print and online at themountaineer.com.
And that's it for this week's news briefs. If you have something to share, you can send requests for submission to info@themountaineer.com. As long as it meets our community standards, we'll be sure to include it in a future episode. Brightwood Music has been serving the Peak to Peak region and beyond since opening in 2008. The full-service music store offers new and used instruments and will even repair the ones you've got. Go ahead and check them out on Facebook at Brightwood Music. Brightwood Music is the best music store with altitude across the Peak to Peak. And now for our lead story. Cynthia speaks with Debra Stanger about her path towards mountain painting and joyful color palettes.
Hi, Debra. So can you start by introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Debra Stanger, and I'm an artist, and my artwork is exhibited at the old art gallery in Allen's Park.
And Debra, can you share some of your background as an artist with us?
I taught art for many, many years, and now that I'm retired, I just paint and draw. With being a teacher, I've done many things and love or enjoy doing all kinds of different art and love exploring and experimenting. But I concentrate mainly on painting acrylic and oil paintings and pastels.
And how would you describe your artwork to someone who has never seen it before?
Well, I was trained traditionally and could paint very realistic, but my style has changed over the years, and now it's more intuitive painting, and I do love really bright colors and cheerfulness. I would like to bring joy to the viewer. So I do use a lot of real bright colors. I love texture, so you'll see movement within the texture and the brush strokes of my paintings. And I think that's my main goal, is just to bring happiness to those that, choose my art to hang in their home, bring a smile to their face when they view it.
Will you expand for us on what it means to be an intuitive painter?
Yeah, my paintings mostly derive from my own experience, but my imagination, and it just comes out, it flows from within me. Intuitive painting is just as I paint, the image, the strokes just come to me. It's something that comes from within my soul. I would say that people would explain intuitive painting as not having a lot of rules with it, but, letting the painting talk to you too, in a way. So feeling the painting as you paint it.
So you don't always have a clear path in mind before you begin a new painting.
And it changes. And of course, it depends on the day I'm painting and my mood. My abstract is definitely all intuitive. Just I let the painting speak to me as I paint, and it changes as I go. But it definitely depends on the mood I'm in. But no, I would say none of my paintings I start out with a drawing anymore. A lot of artists do, and that's okay. But my style is to kind of just start and paint.
Debra, can you tell us a little more about what inspires you?
I moved here a couple of years from Arizona, and I just love Colorado and the inspiration that Colorado's given me since I've been here. So a lot of my work includes the beautiful fall colors, the aspens, and of course I paint bears and bison and moose and different animals from here. But I remember one of my art professors told me that I was a colorist, and I didn't really understand it at the time when I was young, but I've always had that connection with color and how they play off of each other, and complementary colors next to each other, and warm and cool colors, and just how that plays in your painting, darks and lights. So yeah, I've always been a colorist, I guess, without knowing it.
And do you have a website where people can learn more about you?
And of course, I have my website, Creative Calling Now, and I titled that because that's just where I'm at. I believe that this is my calling. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I love doing it. So my website's called Creative Calling Now.
Thank you, Debra. You can see Debra's work along with many other artists this weekend during the Peak to Peak Studio Tour. Be sure and go online at the Mountaineer to learn more.
Now we go to correspondent Jamie Lammers, who will be delivering this week's Music Mentions.
And now for this week's Music Mentions. Head to Busey Brews, located at 70 East 1st Street in Netherland on Sunday, September 17th at 2 p.m. to see Madeline and Gabriel performing live. Head to the Canyon Tavern, located at 32138 Highway 72 in Coal Creek Canyon on Saturday, September 16th at 6 p.m. to see Brandon Sipes performing live. Head to the Gold Hill Inn, located at 41 Main Street in Gold Hill on Friday, September 15th at 8 p.m. to see Drunken Hearts performing live, and on Sunday, September 17th at 7 p.m. to see Mickey Balder performing live. Head to Howlin' Wind Brewing, located at 51A Main Street in Rollinsville on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Steepland String Band performing live. Head to JKQ Barbecue, located at 200 Gregory Street in Blackhawk on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. and Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Jimmy Lewis performing live. Head to Knotted Root Brewing, located at 250 North Caribou Street in Netherland on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. to see the Piney Tops performing live, and on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see New Family Dog performing live. Also be sure to head there every Sunday at 5 p.m. to see Jazz Sundays with Black Dog and Friends. Most Sundays at 4 p.m., the Millside Inn hosts an open jam. Be sure to head there at 44365 Highway 72 in Ward to check them out for yourself. Head to the Netherland Farmers Market, located at 85 East 1st Street in Netherland on Sunday, September 17th at 10:30 a.m. to see Stellar Jays performing live. Head to Train Cars Coffee and Kava, located at 101 Pizza Peak Highway in Netherland on Thursday, September 14th at 8 p.m. to see a Kava karaoke night with Phil the Jukebox, on Friday, September 15th at 7:30 p.m. to see Otis Land's piano set, and on Sunday, September 17th at 11 a.m. to see Black Dog performing live. And finally, head to the Very Nice Brewing Company, located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, number 112 in Netherland, on Friday, September 15th at 6 p.m. to see Windy Pines performing live, on Saturday, September 16th at 5 p.m. to see Ravenwolf performing live, and on Sunday, September 17th at 5 p.m. to see Tom Bevere performing live. Did we miss you or your performance? Want to submit your music listing to the Peak Speak area? Do you have updates to your business or to your performances? Please call 303-810-5409 or email info@themountaineer.com to be included in the next print edition or the next podcast of The Mountain Ear.
Thank you, Jamie. Now let's drop in with special correspondent Maryann Rosen, who shares an intriguing tale about the autumnal equinox, its ancient origins, scientific meaning, and cultural celebrations held throughout the centuries.
Occurring this year on September 23rd, the autumnal equinox happens when the sun travels south over the celestial equator. The sun is aligned so that it shines squarely on the equator, giving both the northern and southern hemispheres an equal quantity of sunlight. It is a time of balance. The fall equinox is one of the few occasions in the year that true balance is seen in nature. It is the time that we celebrate Mabon, which has been observed for thousands of years as part of the cycle of nature. In some cultures, it is seen as another spoke in the wheel of the year. Druids and Celts especially honored the earth cycles and divided the year into 8 segments, divided by seasonal turning points and creating 8 festivals. Mabon is also the second of 3 harvest festivals, along with Lunasa in August and Samhain in October. Pagans and ancient Celts observed this time as one in which to express gratitude to the natural world for a bountiful harvest. Mabon was also known as the Festival of Dionysus and the harvest of fruit and wine. Named for a deity of the same name, Mabon is a period when the god of light is vanquished by the god of darkness, thus resulting in the night lengthening after the 23rd. It was also told that after his birth, Mabon was kidnapped for 3 days, which caused light to go into hiding. Mabon also represents the masculine energy associated with the harvest. It became a period to once again pay homage to the Green Man, who was considered the god of the forest by his pouring liquid offerings for the trees. Mabon was a time where making gifts of ciders, wines, and herbs was permissible. The equinox and Mabon were known as stretches when mysteries may be revealed. It was a time to relax and have spells of leisure after the toils and labor of the harvest, to also take a break and take pleasure in what we have produced as a result of our own individual labors, whether those were aimed at our gardens, family, friends, work, or projects we were doing. Autumn is the season of reaping what we have sown, and to look back on the goals we set during Imbolc and Ostara and reflect on how or whether they have come to fruition. It is when we ready ourselves for our sinking into winter. Now is the time to clean house, to sow the seeds of fresh thoughts and dreams which will lay dormant but be nurtured in darkness until spring arrives again. A time to be sure we are ready to make the most of the quiet and reflective season that winter will bring. Gratitude is also a major theme as we thank the universe for all that we have been blessed with and everything that we have. In more modern times, fall equinoxes are periods to get cozy, focus on home and security, and sharing with others, drinking seasonal hot beverages and wearing sweaters. Ah, sweater weather. Some modern celebrants honor the dark mother goddess archetype that speaks to our shadow selves. Goddesses associated with the equinox are the crone, Persephone, Chamanda, and Kali. Symbols are often used to celebrate along with specific foods and colors. Cornucopias are important symbols, usually filled with fruits, squashes, gourds, pumpkins, cucumbers, acorns, cranberries, onions, peppers, greens, and flowers, just to name a few. It is seen as a sign of prosperity that a harvest brings, along with being a symbol of balance, as it contains both masculine phallic foods as well as feminine elements that are hollow and receptive. Apples, the symbol of healing, rejuvenation, regeneration, life, and immortality, also play a major role in festivities. Colors representing Mabon are dark green, red, orange, yellow, brown, and gold, and in some areas, trees provide these colors throughout the fall. If you are looking for ways to celebrate the autumnal equinox, then first, restore balance in your life. Clean out clutter from your home, give to a charity, make a gratitude list, start a gratitude journal. Light a candle, make intentions, and whisper them over the candle flame. Decorate by cutting stalks of barley, put 3 together and tie with raffia and red wool. This one represents the final harvesting of corn. And of course, finally, gather in the forest or your home or at a sacred site with those whom you really love, whether friends, family, or both, and eat a feast of root vegetables, apples, and grapes. However you choose to celebrate or not, have a blessed and prosperous equinox.
The Mountaineer team is hard at work putting together a new and improved edition of Taste of the Peaks. This publication will feature all the stops and shops offering great food, drink, and sweets across our high mountain terrain. Do you have a culinary-based business or service you want listed? There is still time to place your ad and expand your free listing. So go online to our website at themountaineer.com and learn more about how to be included.
You have exactly what you need. You can give it all away. There is exactly enough time to find the next best step to take. 'Cause you can walk up there, I'm just saying. Save your life, take my hand. You can make your way, light a candle. You can love yourself, don't stop trying. You can walk up there, I'm just saying.
And for our final segment, Dango has a conversation with Mike Keeler, historian, storyteller, and aficionado on everything there is to do while visiting Central City.
Hi, Mike. Can we start with you introducing yourself to our listening audience?
My name is Mike Keeler. I'm a historian here in Central City. I am currently working part-time at the Visitor Center. I've been retired for quite a few years, so it works out great for me.
So, Mike, what do you think is one of the biggest draws for visitors coming up to Central City?
Well, I'm always hoping that it's history, but a lot of the casinos draw quite a few people in here. A lot of them don't gamble. They like to come over here and hear about the history of Central City and some of the shows that are going on and the opera and things like that. But I think still the draw up here is gaming at this point in time. But yeah, we like to consider ourselves arts and entertainment too, on top of that. So, and we do a lot of that kind of stuff during the summer.
And am I correct in saying that Central City is one of the oldest mining towns in Colorado?
Yeah, you're correct. There was a lot of mining going on around Leadville and stuff like that, Georgetown, but they were all after silver, up the silver strikes, which everybody knows that silver tanked. It wasn't worth a penny back then, but somebody was smart enough to know here in Central City that the real money was going to be in gold, and that's why they did so well. They pulled about 130 million out of the ground. That would be worth billions today. So, yeah, it's an old mining town. We were established in 1859, and 1859 is when John Gregory first hit his lode gold, and that's when the town really took off, and it grew and grew. They actually considered us as a capital for a while there. This is where President Grant would always come up. Now, him and Henry Teller were very, very good friends. They would meet at the finest hotel west of the Mississippi, built in 1872, which is the Teller House. And he would actually have meetings with a lot of the important governors or senators or something like that up here. So there's a lot of stories about this town for sure.
So the summer event season just wrapped up, with one of the events being Madame Lou Bonch Days. Can you tell us a little bit about that fantastic charade and other fantabulous events so that we are sure to mark our calendars for next year?
Well, you know what's really neat about that whole thing is we normally run the debutantes ball, Yellow Rose Ball here, and the opening of the opera. And so they're all dressed in gowns and tuxedos and everything on Eureka Street. And down on Main Street, we celebrate Lou Bonch Days. And of course, everybody knows she was a owner and brothel owner here in Central City for many, many years. But she did a lot of good too. Some of the stories that were out is that her and her girls would actually close down the Teller House and use it as a hospital to help the miners recover from influenza or whatever. And so they did a lot of good things. And so at the same day, we have the opening of the opera. On Main Street, we have Madame Lou Bonch Days, which is live music. We have food booths. We have drink booths. And we also have the brass bed races, which everybody loves up here.
Indeed. And how about giving us an idea of what's in store for the fall?
Yes, we have what we call our Creepy Crawl in October, and it's one of our biggest shows around. I don't know why, but people like creepy stuff. Anyway, we kind of take over 5 buildings here in Central City, and this year I'm pretty sure the buildings are going to be the Teller House, of course, the Opera House, the stables across the street, Williams Stables, and then down here we have the old Coyote Saloon, and then next door to that is another building that's been empty for a long time. So hopefully that'll be all of our stops, and they all meet in the bottom of the Century down there, and they will be paired off in groups, probably about some of them are bigger than others, but from 25 to 40, and you'll be set up with a guide, and that guide will talk a little bit about the history of Central City as you're walking, and they'll take you to your first stop. And so I think that first stop might even be the Teller House itself, and then the Opera House. And there's five of us. I've been a spirit doing spirit shows here for many, many years. When you come into mine, I'm not sitting down telling you a story. I'm acting it out. That's what I'm doing, and talking about it at the same time, which includes sometimes guns, knives, or hangings, things like that. But these stories are most of them out of the archives, so they happen, and we might just put a twist on it to give it a better ending. But other than that, the Creepy Crawls is one of our biggest shows up here, and we love doing it for everybody.
So, Mike, can you tell us what your top 3 favorite spots are to visit in Central City?
That's a question I get from a lot of people that come in here. I like to tell them they should start at the Teller House because it's beautiful in there. It still looks the same as it did, back in the 1800s. And also the Opera House. And then after that, I would say the Thomas House, which we call the House Frozen in Time. And it literally was. They left everything in there and built a mansion down in Denver. And they actually gave the house to their kids, which they didn't want it. And that's how the Historical Society got involved with it and stuff like that. It's a great tour. There's several places. I mean, during the wintertime, of course, the museum's not open, but it's got some great stuff in there right now to go see, like our mountain submarine. It's very popular here.
And is there anything else you'd like to let people know about at this time?
So we have a fantastic art gallery up here called Built-in Arts in Washington Hall, and it's in one of the older buildings. If you go in downstairs, you'll see the jail there, and then upstairs is where Judge Belford had his bench, and it's still there today. It's really cool. And then also when they go up, they'll see that the building is kind of slanted. All the doorways and everything are slanted. Back then, they had a Republican convention. There was over 200 people, and the floor collapsed in there. So a lot of people ask that question.
Thank you, Mike. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. You can go online to find out more about what's coming up in Central City by visiting them at centralcity.colorado.gov.
Little light in your heart, a wild goose chase, a morning star, any old light that shine to me. Little light in your heart, days and days on end. Ain't the wind on fire, don't it call to you? Restless friend, ain't you higher than you've ever been?
That concludes this week's episode of the Mountain Air Podcast, where everybody's listening.
Visit our website at www.themountaineer.com to read more information about today's guests. Pick up a copy of this week's print edition of The Mountaineer at newsstands all across the Peak to Peak. I'm Dango Rose.
And I'm Cynthia Davis. Thank you for listening.
You name it, we've got it.
Up here in the mountains, things are weird.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.